My parents gave my younger sister my dream car as a surprise gift, even though I had worked for it myself. When I confronted them, she laughed. "You should have been faster." Furious, I took my keys and drove off, only to discover a secret compartment in the car that exposed the truth they never wanted me to know. I still remember the heat that day. Not just the weather, but the kind that sits in your chest and burns everything down. It was a Sunday, late August. I had just finished a 12-hour shift at the restaurant. I worked the lunch rush, stayed for dinner, and helped clean up after. I smelled like grease and sweat, and I didn't care. All I could think about was going home, showering, and maybe taking my car out for a ride. My car, the one I had spent 2 years working on. It wasn't new. Hell, it was older than me. But that 1969 Mustang Fastback meant more to me than anything else I owned. I'd been obsessed with it since I was 15. Found one in rough shape through a private listing when I was 19. I paid a retired mechanic, Ray, a down payment and kept bringing him cash every week from my part-time jobs. I did everything, cleaned his garage, hauled scrap metal, ran errands. Eventually, I worked beside him, learning how to fix the car with my own hands. I bled for that car. I missed birthdays, parties, even dates because I was under that damn hood. So when I pulled into my parents' driveway that Sunday and saw my car cleaned, polished, and wrapped with a red bow, I felt sick. I actually thought I was dreaming. And standing beside it was my little sister, Tessa, 2 years younger than me. Everyone thought she was sweet. But she knew how to play my parents like a violin. She got everything handed to her. Private school, her own bathroom, even her own fridge in the garage, because she needed her space. I walked up, confused, trying to make sense of it. "What's going on?" I asked. My mom looked way too excited. "Surprise! We gave the Mustang to Tessa as a college send-off gift." I just stared at her. "You what?" My dad smiled like a proud coach. "It was just sitting around." She needed something nice. Reliable. Sitting around? I've been rebuilding that car for 2 years. Tessa laughed, actually laughed, and held up the keys like a trophy. "You should have been faster. I asked for it last week and they said yes. Guess I win." I could feel my heart pounding in my ears. My hands were clenched so tight I felt my nails dig into my skin. My mom waved her hand. "Don't make this a thing. You never actually owned the car. We paid Ray for the title. It was never legally yours." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My dad added, "We figured you'd understand. You're practical. You'll be fine." I snapped. I didn't even say a word. I just walked up, ripped the keys from Tessa's hand. She screamed like I'd slapped her, and I jumped in the car. The sound of the engine under my feet felt like the only real thing left. They were yelling behind me, but I didn't care. I drove. I must have gone 50 miles before I stopped at a gas station off Route 33. I just sat there for a while, trying to breathe. My whole body was shaking. I opened the glove box to grab a napkin and noticed something weird. The inside felt deeper than it should. There was a small ridge in the back corner. I pushed it, and the bottom lifted. There was a notebook. Old, beat up. And under it, a thick stack of letters held together with a rubber band. I opened the notebook first. First page said, "For Dylan. If your parents did what I think they might, read this first." It was Ray's handwriting. I flipped through it. Page after page of notes. About the car. About how much work I did on it. He wrote that he'd never seen a kid care so much. He said he was proud of me. Then came the real part. Ray never sold the car to my parents. He took their check, made a copy, and mailed it back. He never transferred the title. Instead, he quietly filed it under my name, using my ID and some help from a friend who worked at the BMV. I was the legal owner. My parents had no idea. Then I opened the letters. That's when everything came apart. One envelope had my name written on it in big, shaky letters, from Cheryl. I didn't know who that was at first. I opened it and my whole body went cold. Cheryl was my mom's older sister. My real mom. I'm not talking about real, as in birth mother. I mean, she raised me for the first few years. According to the letter, my biological mother died in a crash when I was just a baby. My father? Gone before I was born. Cheryl took me in at first. She loved me, but she was struggling, divorced, broke, dealing with health issues. So she made a deal with her younger sister, my mom, to take me in and raise me as her own. They never told me, never even hinted at it. Cheryl had attached documents, copies of my adoption papers, DNA test results, photos of me as a baby with her in some tiny apartment. In one letter, she wrote, "I tried to stay in your life, but your mom said it was better for you if I disappeared. I didn't want to confuse you. I thought she would love you like her own. I'm so sorry. You were always mine." I sat there for over an hour, just staring at the dash. I wasn't just betrayed about the car. My whole life was built on lies. The next day, I didn't go home. I drove back to Ray's place and showed him the notebook. He hugged me. He said he'd had a bad feeling when my mom and dad showed up with a check and a fake smile. That's why he hid the documents. Just in case. That night, I called the number on one of the letters. Cheryl answered. I didn't even know what to say. We met in a diner the next day. She brought more photos. She cried the whole time. I didn't cry. I couldn't. I was too numb. I stayed with Ray for a while. Cheryl helped me get a lawyer. We pulled the title. I had full ownership. My parents didn't have a leg to stand on. But I wasn't done yet. I wanted them to feel what I felt. The loss. The betrayal. The silence. So I started planning. I didn't rush it. I wanted every move to be exact. First thing I did was get a new mailing address. I rented a P.O. box in a nearby town and had my banking, insurance, and car title all updated. I cut off every automatic connection to my parents' house. Phone plan? Gone. Bank account? Separated. Health insurance? I applied for state coverage in the meantime. I needed to be invisible to them, on paper at least. Then I went home. Not to stay. Just to drop something off. It was a copy of the title, stapled to a printout of Ohio law that clearly stated I was the legal owner of the Mustang. I taped it to the front door and left a note that just said, "You stole from me." But I took it back. Don't contact me again. I knew they'd call anyway. And they did. My mom blew up my phone for 2 days straight. Angry texts. Guilty ones. Then back to angry. My dad even left a voicemail saying I was being immature and tearing the family apart. Tessa texted me once, "Guess you finally grew a backbone. Took you long enough." I didn't answer. About a week later, I got a call from Ray. He sounded off. "You need to come by," he said. "Something's not right." When I pulled into his shop, I knew it was bad. His garage door was half open, and one of the windows had been smashed in. Inside, the place was trashed. Cabinets ripped open, toolboxes knocked over. Someone had gone looking for something. They didn't take anything valuable, Ray said. No tools, no cash. Just papers. Files. I checked the drawer where we kept the extra copies of the title and all the letters. Empty. I already knew who did it. That night, I drove to my parents' house. Not inside. I parked across the street, waited, watched. Just like they tried to sneak behind my back, I'd do the same to them. A car pulled up, Tessa's friend Tara. She got out, ran inside holding a manila envelope. I recognized it immediately. That was one of the files from Ray's shop. I waited until Tara left, then followed her. She parked at a Starbucks downtown. I waited until she went inside, then I checked her back seat. The envelope was still there. Stupid move. I took pictures of the contents right there in the lot. They had gone through everything. There were notes about Cheryl, about me, even copies of the adoption papers. My parents were scared. They were trying to find out what I knew, what I could prove. I took the photos and left the envelope exactly where it was. They wanted control, so I gave them something else instead, doubt. The next day, I created an email account and sent the photos of the adoption documents to Tessa using a fake name. No message, just the files. She replied an hour later. Who is this? How did you get this? I didn't answer. 2 days later, she posted something weird on Instagram. A black screen with a caption, "Loyalty isn't always blood. Sometimes blood lies to you too." That was when I knew she found out. A few days after that, I got an email from my dad. It was the first time he'd ever written to me. Subject: "We need to talk, the body was short. Come by Sunday." Just you. No drama. We'll tell you everything. I didn't reply, but I planned to go. I wanted to hear it from their mouths. But I also knew they were hiding something more. That car, the Mustang, was part of something bigger. And I was going to find out what. I didn't tell Ray or Cheryl I was going back to the house that Sunday. I didn't want anyone trying to talk me out of it. I needed answers. Real ones. No spin. No more lies. When I pulled into the driveway, everything looked normal. Lawn freshly cut. Flowers watered. But the tension in the air was thick. I could feel it before I even got out of the car. My mom opened the door like she'd been waiting behind it. My dad stood in the living room with his arms crossed, like always. Tessa wasn't there. I didn't ask where she was. I didn't sit down. "You said you'd tell me everything," I said. "Start talking." My mom looked nervous for the first time I could remember. She motioned toward the dining room. "Let's sit." "No," I snapped. "Right here. Now." My dad sighed. "All right. You want the truth? Here it is." Then he just dumped it. Turns out the adoption wasn't clean. They took me in after the accident, but it wasn't legal at first. My mom, Cheryl, was still alive, but she was in the hospital for months after the crash. They took me in temporarily, but then never gave me back. My parents moved states. Faked paperwork. Said I was theirs. Changed doctors. Changed schools. Made sure no one ever asked too many questions. When Cheryl finally got out of the hospital, she tried to get custody back, but the trail was cold. My parents said she abandoned me. Said she gave me up. They used her past struggles, depression, old court issues to make her look unfit. I was a toddler. I didn't remember any of it, but they knew. They knew she wanted me back. "She would have ruined you," my mom said. "We gave you a real life. We gave you stability. You stole me," I said quietly. "You stole me and lied for 20 years. She had the nerve to look hurt. "We loved you. Loved me so much you gave my car to someone else?" I shot back. That's when my dad finally lost it. "You were never supposed to find out," he shouted. "We did what we had to do. You were just a kid. What would you have done with a drug addict aunt who couldn't even keep a job?" I stared at him. "That's your excuse? You kidnapped me because it was easier. We saved you." I turned to my mom. "And Tessa? She knows." She looked away. "Answer me." "She found out recently," she muttered. "But we told her not to say anything. We didn't want her to think you weren't her real brother." "But I'm not," I said. "And you're not my parents. You're just liars." Then she said something I'll never forget. "You should be grateful. Without us, you'd be nothing." That was the moment something snapped inside me. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just nodded, turned around, and walked out the door. They followed me out onto the porch, still yelling, still trying to control the story. But I was done listening. Later that night, I went through the Mustang again, inch by inch. Ray helped me lift out the back seat and check under the carpet. That's when we found it, another envelope taped under the floor mat. It was old, yellowed, like it had been there for years. Inside were photos. Me as a baby, me with Cheryl. Some of them were hospital pictures, one even had my birth bracelet. On the back, in fading pen, was one short message. "Don't forget who you are." Mom, Ray put a hand on my shoulder and said nothing. But something about that moment flipped a switch. I realized my parents, my fake parents, had kept more than just the car from me. They had stolen my name, my history, my family. And now I had the truth. It was time they felt what it was like to lose something they thought they owned. I didn't sleep that night. I laid on the floor of Ray's shop, staring at the ceiling, holding that photo of me in the hospital. The bracelet with my real last name. Her name. Cheryl's. They wanted to erase her. They wanted to erase me. So I made a plan. First thing I did was get a lawyer. Ray connected me with one who didn't ask too many questions. I gave her the photos, the letters, the adoption papers, and everything I knew. She didn't even blink. This is going to make a lot of noise, she said. I want noise, I said. I want fire. She helped me file 2 things. First, a lawsuit against my parents for fraud, emotional abuse, and theft. Second, a petition to reinstate my birth identity. Not just the name. Everything. Records, social security, legal status. I wanted to bury the life they forced on me and reclaim the one they tried to hide. But that wasn't all. I knew how much they cared about image, status, the neighborhood, their careers. My dad was a financial advisor. My mom worked at a private school. Both places that didn't like scandal. So I started leaking. I sent anonymous emails to my dad's clients, links to a PDF of the lawsuit, with copies of forged adoption papers. I knew how to find them. I worked for him one summer, organizing files. I sent emails to my mom's school board. Told them she had lied about adopting me legally. Gave them just enough truth to force an investigation. Then I went public. I posted the whole story, photos, documents, the hidden letters on social media. No names, but enough that anyone in our town knew exactly who it was about. Tessa messaged me within an hour. What the hell did you do? I didn't answer. The fallout came fast. My dad lost 3 major clients in a week. His office suspended him, pending an internal ethics review. My mom? She was asked to take a leave of absence from the school. Their perfect world cracked right down the middle. And me? I thought I'd feel better. I thought revenge would taste sweeter. But it didn't. It just sat heavy in my chest. Ray was proud. Cheryl cried when I told her I was taking her name back. I moved in with her for a while. She wasn't perfect. Hell, she was a mess, but she was honest. She told the truth, even when it hurt. A few weeks after the lawsuit went public, Tessa showed up at Ray's shop. She didn't knock. Just walked in like she still owned something. You really think this fixes anything, she said. I didn't answer. Just wiped grease off my hands and kept working. She stepped closer. You ruined everything. Dad might go to jail. Mom cries every day. I finally looked at her. And you? I asked. You laugh when you steal from people. You mocked me. She didn't flinch. You're not the only one they lied to. I nodded. Maybe, but I'm the only one who stopped letting them. She left without another word. The case dragged on for months. Lawyers going back and forth. My parents tried to settle. I refused. I wanted it on record. I wanted a judge to say it out loud. They lied, they stole, and they damaged me. In the end, I won. The judge ordered them to pay damages. Nothing life-changing, but enough to sting. Enough that they had to sell their second car and refinance the house. Their reputation? Gone. They still live in town. People cross the street to avoid them now. And me? I drive the Mustang every Sunday. Not because I need to, but because I earned it. Ray helped me paint the words for her under the hood. Small, in the corner, just for me and Cheryl. Some nights, I still think about that moment on the porch when my mom said I should be grateful. She was wrong. I don't owe them thanks. I owe them nothing, but I'll always owe myself the truth. And now, they can live in the silence they built. The same one they tried to trap me in. Only now it's theirs alone.